Hi folks, Darren from WePaint Minis here. In today's video I'm going to show you how to create your very own Space Marine chapter in 5 easy steps. If you're new here and want to learn tips and techniques on how to paint awesome minis, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button to never miss a video. With Indomitus just around the corner, it's a great opportunity for fans of the Adeptus Astartes to either adorn their force in the colours of their favourite chapter or create their own. The rules for custom or homebrew chapters have become significantly more accessible in the latest iterations of the games, specifically 8th edition, really lending to the fact that this universe, whilst rich in lore, is open to the possibility that your own chapter can really exist. If you are planning on going down the route of a homebrew chapter, hopefully this video will offer a little bit of help and support. So I'm going to show you how I create a homebrew chapter in 5 steps. Let's get to it. I would say that the most critical question to ask yourself first off is, do I really want to create my own chapter? You can browse the internet or flick through a Space Marine Codex and take a look at the chapters currently on offer. As it stands, there are 9 loyal founding chapters that you may or may not be familiar with. Ultramarines, Raven Guard, Salamanders, Imperial Fists, Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Iron Hands, White Scars. Each of these chapters has its own unique colour scheme, lore, heraldry, fighting styles to adopt on the battlefield, and Primarchs, although most of them are likely dead. It's worth noting that at this point, if any of these chapters appeal to you, there is absolutely nothing wrong with sticking with whichever you prefer. Not only this, but they also each have a varying number of successor chapters, which have been formed over many years and many crusades. These chapters are splinters of the original founding brotherhoods. However, there are many more unknown ones that the records of the Imperium have either failed or have been unable to catalogue. This is where you can get creative. I won't go into those specific chapters in this video, as the information on most is somewhat open to interpretation. Some, however, like the Black Templars, successors of the Imperial Fists, are quite well fleshed out. The focus of this video is to help guide you through the process of deciding and creating your own successor chapter based on one of the founding chapters mentioned before. So at this point, I'm going to assume you didn't want to paint Ultramarines. So you've decided on a chapter you wish to create a successor of. Now it's on to some backstory or lore. The rule of cool is an awesome expression in most gaming scenarios. If it looks and sounds cool, then do it. You can fill in the blanks when it comes to the rules and things later if that's your bag. The same goes for lore or a backstory. You can go as deep or as vague as you like. You can even simply create the chapter around a specific tactic like stealth ops, siege warfare, hit and run, or guerrilla warfare, etc. The idea of a really in-depth backstory daunts me, to be honest, as I'm not a master of the lore. This is why for my own chapter I chose the simpler route of tactics. Just to make things easy, I will use my homebrew chapter as an example. The Night Scars are a White Scar successor chapter who attack the enemy during the night before the main wave of White Scars are to do so, severing supply lines, sabotaging equipment, creating diversions and things like that. Very different from the brash, fast-paced attack style of their founding chapter. So as previously mentioned, I haven't created an in-depth backstory, just a basic style of tactical engagement that I feel would really complement the White Scars and more importantly, sounds cool to me. If you decide to go in depth, that's totally cool too. You can go as far down the rabbit hole as you like, creating chapter masters, named characters, whether they are fleet-based or planet-based chapter, stuff like that. Go nuts. Arguably the most fun part of this process is coming up with an awesome paint scheme and look for your chapter. Deciding on a backstory beforehand can either help define this or guide the decision making process. Referring back to my chapter, the Night Scars armour is in off black, their right arm is completely white and the accent colour is red to honour their founding chapter. The idea behind this scheme was that black lends itself well to them being subversive raiders of the night, but the white and red are an homage to their heritage. As far as awesome successor chapters go, I really highly recommend checking out Paul Norton's Iron Ravens chapter, a successor to the Raven Guard. It's an awesome combination of metallics and primary colours, and expertly painted, as you expect. When planning chapters, I use a few tools that can really help you flesh out a cool colour scheme before putting any paint on a model. There's nothing worse than painting that first model and realising it clashes or it isn't quite what you're looking for. There is a downloadable image that you can get from the Warhammer community website. I will put a link in the description below, and in conjunction with Paint or an image editing software like Photoshop, it allows you to fill in areas of the Space Marine with whatever colours you are currently deciding upon. It also gives you the option to fill in a name, chapter symbol, motto, and even a variant helmet colours based upon the various military ranks. There's also a really cool app you can purchase for about £2.99 called Imp Cat. With a bit of playing around with it, it allows you to import an image of an actual Space Marine model and mess about with the colours of individual parts. It also gives you the option to select colours based on the variety of paint brands, because we all know not everyone uses Citadel paints. These are just two cool options that are available and I've personally used. You can just as simply use a pen and a piece of paper to plan out your colour scheme. You know, old school like. Have you used any other tools to decide how to paint your chapters in the past? Let me know in the comment section below, I'd love to hear them. So, you've chosen your colours, you're ready to start building models and slapping some paint on them. But wait, they look just like any other Space Marine. This of course is totally okay, and if you want to just get straight into painting, then you do you and live your best genetically modified superhuman life. But if you want to add a little bit of variety to your chapter, this step can really define the overall look and set your Marines apart from the rest. We as hobbyists are currently spoiled for choice by a plethora of multi-part miniature kits, third-party conversion bit producers and 3D printing. This gives us all the potential option to gain access to bits and parts that you may not have had access to before. There's also a high possibility that you have a well-established bit box to pillage. If not, don't worry, there's also a wide selection of bit sellers on the internet for you to take a look at. I recommend Bitbox here in the UK. Again, with my homebrew chapter, The Night Scars, I wanted to combine the synonymous chunkiness of the Primaris Marine Mark X Tacticus Power Armour with the awesome, more stealthy Phobos armour, so I used the arms and the helmet from the Reaver set and stuck them onto the Intercessor body. Simple, but the exact effect I was looking for. Another awesome example of this is the Reclaimers of Dawn by Chapter Master Valrak. He very simply added Andrakor to the belts of his units to differentiate them from other chapters. Plus he has a real badass gold and silver paint scheme too. I'll put a link to a video of his where he shows them off down below. I always feel that simple is often better. Sure, you can convert your models up so much so that they look like they're from another manufacturer, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you pick a specific feature of your chapter, things like they wear robes, or they bless their bones for protection and wear them on their shoulder pads, whatever you choose, you'll still have a group of Marines that look awesome and totally different from the others. Yes, I know, Night Scars is not the most imaginative name, but it doesn't have to be. Neither did yours, unless you want it to be, of course. Naming characters in games or tabletop RPGs can be tricky, well for me anyway. If I'm playing a character for a long time, I want the best name I can think of at that moment, one that fits the personality of the character. Naming my chapter was no different, except for the naming conventions of Space Marine chapters are quite, odd. There are a few naming conventions you can follow, and I'll show you how they can produce a very 40k sounding name, if not a little on the nose. First off, write a list of nouns. Any nouns really, obviously some suit the 40k universe better than others. Here are some good examples of categories you could choose. Beasts, people, weapons, military formations, weathered patterns, or basic groupings. Now write a list of adjectives. Examples for these are things like colours, actions or attitudes. With those two lists, you can pair them up adjective first followed by the noun in various combinations to see what you prefer. You can even add words like the or of amongst them to add a little bit of extra spice to them. Who would have thought the word the could be as spicy as it is in the 40k universe? So for this example, the noun is lions. The adjective, raging. We add a spicy the at the beginning and voila, the Raging Lions. It's a crap name, I know, but you can come up with some awesome ones if you do a little bit of research. I'm not saying that you should name your army like this, just giving a few simple options on how to get a very Space Marine chapter sounding name. If you manage to come up with an even better sounding name without using the above, I've got to hear it in the comments below. Once you've settled on a name, your homebrew chapter is now complete. Or is it? You can quite easily add, change or take away ideas if you want, but I personally recommend deciding on these changes before putting paint to model. This will potentially limit the changes you have to make mid-army build, causing a fair bit of stress in the process. And there we have it folks, 5 easy steps on how you can create your own homebrew Space Marine chapter just in time for 9th edition, which I'm super excited about, as you can probably tell. This was a different style of video for me, but something I wanted to try and a style I really enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you folks take away at least one piece of advice from this video, it will make me very happy. I would also love to hear your thoughts on this style of video in the comment section below. All that is left for me to do is say thank you to each and every one of you for watching. It really does mean a lot. If you enjoy the content that I do, don't forget to subscribe, like and share this amongst your friends. Stay safe and don't forget to keep the hobby alive.